Good news. It's time to put your life on the line for the Resistance.
At last! I waited a long time.
Are you joking? Is this actually free?
Uh-huh. Yep.
Thanks, pal. Oh, that hits the spot.
Good. Glad you like it.
Yeah, I guess. No, listen.
Just to let you know, if the police catch you with that, they'll have the right to search you in the you-know-where.
Urgent call.
Mobilize that vehicle!
Location.
Auto drive is not available.
Received. Let's keep this by the book. Over. Amazon suspect. They crossed the checkpoint.
I have them. Where did they go?
Fuck! Not good.
Auto drive is not available.
Fuck. I'm not going to make it. Shit.
Preparing to intercept vehicle.
Target has exited the car, maintaining visual.
I'll back you up.
You're welcome.
Big fucking mistake.
What's going on?
Sign up. Well, this'll make a good story.
Control, put out an APW. Target is gone.
Albion is recruiting. Sign up to protect your city today.
Say you're sorry. You're just being stupid now. I'm no therapist or nothing. Just think first. Quiet. Fuck is going on? Shit. Stop this right now.
I can't fucking wait to get my
Calm
revenge.
yourself, will ya?
Albion guards are here for your safety. Obey their directives immediately.
That's just too much.
Please have all identification papers ready.
Seriously?
Clear. Let's keep looking. What's happening?
Oh, God. Please pass through this checkpoint. First on the scene.
Those who do not cooperate will be detained.
Hey, careful.
You are within an Albion secured area. Be prepared to present identification if directed.
We're being contacted by our potential recruit. Patching them through now.
Anyway, I owe you a favor now.
If you want to repay us, you must join DedSec. There is no other way.
Fine. I'm in.
Where did they go? Shit. Terminating pursuit and coming back.
Britain has a long heritage in world-leading innovation. From the steam engine to the Spitfire, it is the spirit and ingenuity of our people that has made us strong. That is why... Albion, we believe in delivering the next generation of personalized security to all of our citizens. For when it comes to the future, it's your safety that's our security.
Okay, but... No, you sure? All right, I hear you.
This place has bad feelings. Many died. Too many ghosts.
So what's with the security? This building should be under construction, not under guard.
True. Mr. Bagley, what am I looking for?
Any kind of device or component that could still be emitting the signal. It seems to be coming from within the rubble.
You hear about Bertie? Bloody cinematographer right here.
Take this down. The Tone bombing presents us with an excellent opportunity. Once we've taken full possession of the site, it gives us a good vantage point on the Thames and provides us with a cover of activity to mask some of our own higher risk activities.
Now I'm feeling dead safe.
Where is that meant to be coming? Bloody hell! Someone help! My fucking ears! Stop resisting!
What the fuck? This is it. The signal is coming from this spider-bot fragment. No indication yet who it belongs to.
Looks like it got hit by a hammer. Lots of times. What's it doing here?
Difficult to say, but with an AR reconstruction, we may be able to see what happened to it and if it relates to the attack. Access data relays in the vicinity, and I can compile enough data to build the AR reconstruction. Perfect. 2 more data relays to go. One more data relay and I'll have it. That should do it. Now I'll just take the audio from this stream and the video from these 36 and... got it. Go back to where you found that spider bot and I'll show you the AR reconstruction from the night of the explosion.
Yes, I understand.
Bastard. Moron. Piss off. Fuck's sake.
CTOS AR. Data reconstruction in progress.
You brought the payload? Fuck, think we'd go back here? Don't trust the Kelly dog.
Kelly? Clan Kelly? Gangster guys blew up London?
Not their style. Probably a handoff. Most likely the Kellys were a supplier.
Who were they meeting? She's not with the Kelly's crew. Do you think maybe she's with Zero Day?
Well, don't just stand there. Keep looking.
Bagley, do you know who's using Spiderbot?
I've now fully decrypted the signal the Spiderbot is broadcasting. And while I cannot identify a specific user, it is a call code used by the Metropolitan Police Service.
Christ, so the police force witnessed this handoff?
The reconstruction continues behind that rubble.
Is there a quantum tunnel here we can use?
Quantum tunnel technology is at least 10 years away, but Spiderbots and drones are here today. You could try one of those if you don't feel like waiting.
Good plan.
Why don't you aim those human eyeballs of yours at the van's cargo?
Yes, I understand. I've been looking for you.
RDX nitrogen, and the exact same detonator system like the bombs that were planted at Parliament.
That is 0 Day's signature.
There, hurry. We've got other deliveries.
So you were hired to supply all the targets? Shut it, we're all on need to know.
Okay, so 0 Day used other crews to execute bombings. Wow, they must have a lot of evil friends.
That's certainly one way to pull off a massive coordinated attack while remaining anonymous. 0 Day needed manpower and resources, but they needed them at an arm's length. And it doesn't take the world's greatest AI detective to see that both Clan Kelly and Albion benefited in the aftermath. Unfortunately, this is the most we can get out of the AR reconstruction. But if we could find the mystery officer who was spying through the spider bot, maybe they could tell us more.
He's looking to automate our jobs, mate. This is no joke. Director Cass? You're serious? Who told you that? Friend over in R&D. The shit he's told me about...
You're listening to The Bug.
May cause nausea, vomiting and headaches. Hello Britain, this is The Bug, the show that holds up a mirror to the world and smashes itself on the head with it in despair. I'm Andy, joining me, as always, Alice, and...
I deny everything.
Just a good state of existence. Some good news, at last, there are.
Welcome back to The Upload. Today we're talking about cryptocurrency. Crypto now seems like it's been around forever, but it's really quite a new invention. Were you an early adopter?
I was one of the first that was in this market. That seemed to be a new way of financial transactions, a new way of money. It's something that we could completely reinvent and change some of the legacy financial systems around the world and really give power back to the people.
Yeah, it was a real shift in the way that the world works. Let's recap the basics. Central to cryptocurrency is the distributed ledger technology, the tech that keeps track of all transactions. And what this means is you can have a decentralized system without having to trust any one party, like old-fashioned banks.
One of the reasons why I got involved so early was that you could stay anonymous.
Yeah, the features of cryptocurrency very much fit into that early mindset. It was all about finding an alternative to centralized systems. It was kind of a countercultural punk ethos. The whole point of the distributed ledger is you're not trusting any one person to keep a track of who has what money or how they're spending it. It's all out there in the open for anyone to see, and yet you can remain secretive.
But not everybody now wants to keep up this crypto legacy. They don't share this attitude anymore. We've seen institutions, businesses, even governments experimenting with crypto, which doesn't really fit into its original radical counterculture mold.
Yeah, it's kind of weird today to think of people not using cryptocurrency. It's so mainstream now. You know, I'm almost nostalgic for the feel of cash. Good old-fashioned paper and coins. First they changed the paper notes to plastic notes, and now it's just all digital. There's nothing to hold on to.
It was great just to be able to have a little bit of money to carry around with you.
I think the turning point in the UK really came a few years ago when the pound dropped 10% over just one season. People living off grid started using crypto, and just as everyone was losing faith in the pound, they were gaining it in cryptocurrency, which turned out to be much more stable. Kind of the opposite to what people thought in the beginning.
And then, of course, there was the recession. It didn't take long for startups to see an opportunity in this new way of doing finance. A lot of traditional money was converted to crypto, and it really shook up the financial sector.
Can you remember when they first introduced crypto cash points?
That was really sneaky. It was a classic startup behavior. They just installed them everywhere. No consultation with the government, no approval or anything, but people immediately started to use them.
Yeah, it kind of reminded me of how Bloom put out the Optic. They just made it free and flooded the streets with these devices. Suddenly, everyone had them.
If there's this great option of tech, people are just going to start using it, no matter the cost.
Parliament actually tried to put a stop to the cash points, but people were using them so much already. There was outrage. I mean, some parts of London were already using crypto as their primary currency by then.
And now, apparently, or at least in theory, crypto is illegal.
Yeah, in May this year, economists found that crypto was being traded more than the pound, and banks were not happy. They basically forced the government to ban cryptocurrency in a last-ditch effort to save the pound.
But it's not like that's worked. People are still using crypto, and it's been pushed further, deeper underground. Things used to work fine with crypto, and it was just a peer-to-peer sharing economy-style system. Now it's all on the dark web and wrapped up again in organized crime.
Yeah, if you want to make something thrive on the black market, just make it illegal.
Claire Waters, and we've been discussing the hacktivist, now alleged terrorist group, DedSec, on this week's Buccaneer Radio. I have Colin calling in. Colin, what's your take?
Now, I've been saying from the start we should have rounded up DedSec and thrown them in jail. Now, I'll say they should all be lined up and shot.
You don't find it awfully convenient that they've been fingered as the attackers, but we've seen no proof?
Look at Tone! Look at our city! What more proof do you need?
Well, Colin, I'd say you have to look at their history of non-violent action. Albion's put more civilians in the hospital in the past few months than DedSec ever has. I smell a scapegoat. Now I have Emily calling in. Emily, what's your take?
You're absolutely right, Claire. The government's just framing DedSec because they want to make it seem like they have this under control. They probably have no clue who was behind the bombings. But that doesn't look good on the news, does it? DedSec's been a thorn in their side. Who better to pin it on?
Angie, I have you next. What do you make of all this?
I think, if anything, DedSec showed their true colors. It's terrifying to think we harbored such a dangerous element for years. Terrorists in our own backyard.
Do you find DedSec more frightening than the different gangs in London, like Clan Kelly?
Clan Kelly might set your shop on fire and maybe they'd kill you, but even they wouldn't try to blow up all of Parliament.
Next, I have Crypto King. Do you feel safer using a pseudonym?
Everyone should. Why make it easier for them to track you? And now we've seen what they're capable of and how far they're willing to go.
Hold on. Do you mean the government? Are you suggesting the government was responsible for the bombings?
Oh, trust me, Claire. They didn't do it alone. They're all in on it. The government, Albion, Sirs, Bloom, Sky Bloody Larson, and all the way up to Downing Street. They want to keep us scared, harness us with mind control, suck every last ounce of usefulness out of us, and even in death they'll sell off our bodies.
And what do you suggest we do, Crypto King?
Go underground. Deep enough, no electric signal can get you. It's the only way.
Well, thank you to all of our callers today, and thank you for tuning in and scouting for the truth along with me. Next week, Buccaneer Radio will be diving into the Albion Corporation. Just who are these men and women being paid lucrative amounts for the city's defence? Are they protecting us? Protecting London? Or someone else's interests? See you next week, fellow pirates. Claire Waters out.
This is London Calling. You're listening to me, Tash, on Buccaneer, your source for what they don't want you to know. This time we're turning our focus back on the media to look at my former employer, the GBB. As we know, the broadcaster has been through a lot of changes since the Hassani government gave in to pressure from his corporate backers and privatised the corporation. Today, the GBB is a shadow of its former self. It's become a tool used by the government to circulate fake news and misinformation. So how did we get here? Where did it all go wrong? How can we tell when our national media has become state propaganda? Our experts speak on conditions of anonymity for their own safety. Here's disinformation and media expert Charles, who's seen free broadcasters built up by journalists and torn down by demagogues all over the world.
So before the media fragmented, there was this voice of authority that was trusted and worthy of trust. Then what we ended up with is a really commercial model where whether you're talking about an app on a smart device or whether you're talking about a broadcaster, the most important thing was to keep you in that environment for the longest amount of time possible, and because that meant money in their pocket. And in order to do that, a couple of things happened. One was the use of manipulative techniques around behavioral economics, things that would just keep you scrolling or keep you listening or keep you looking for more information. The second is that kind of environment favors sensationalism. And so you got more sensational headlines and more sensational stories, and it didn't matter whether they were true or not. It just kept people in and it kept them in the loop. So we ended up in a situation where no nobody trusted anything, and nobody believed anything at all. And that is the perfect environment for an authoritarian voice to come in and say, no, wait, we are the truth. So the ground for this environment really got created when we had suddenly authoritarian politicians everywhere, and anything that threatened them or they disagreed with, they would call it disinformation. That's disinformation, that's fake news. And again, we got in a situation where nobody really believed anything. And the trouble is if you were telling the truth, it's very hard to get your message to cut through all of the noise of all of the disinformation that's there. So like, you remember Out on the Edges, there was this story about when they would take a house by force, they would take any infants and they would crucify them. And that's a great, fantastic, viral story. And how do you counter that story? With the truth. The only way you can counter it is by saying, no, they didn't. And of course, no one wants to spread that story. No one wants to hear that story. They want to hear the sensationalism. They want to hear how people were victims of violence when in fact they weren't. Or they were victims of insurgent forces when in fact they weren't.
The news isn't neutral, it's a battleground. Here's media researcher and academic Alfie.
The media has, of course, been perhaps the key way in which governments have controlled and influenced their populations. So, totalitarian countries have typically used huge mainstream media outlets to sell one kind of news, one kind of biased news to its population. Of course, the media has always played this kind of key role in methods of state control. I think what's happening now is perhaps even more concerning, where you previously, in pre-crisis Britain, we had perhaps more diverse voices in the media, but now with the GBB, you're really only seeing one brand of news and therefore only getting one truth. So people end up with a very biased and controlled idea of the reality and the world that we're actually living in. There was, of course, many concerns and many problems, but in a way there were some positive things that, like, not all information was coming from one place, and so you'd have kind of far-right media outlets developing and then left-wing media outlets developing to combat those and kind of challenge the mainstream newspapers, TV stations, radios, and make sure people were questioning the validity and truth of the information they were receiving. So whilst there was the digital afforded more fake information, it also makes us suspicious and skeptical of information and makes us question the information we're getting. And I think in pre-crisis Britain, it might not have seemed great at the time, but there was something positive about that there was a lot of distrust in the media and in the different kinds of truths that were being told. Whereas now, I think you're seeing a return to a more traditional and older pre-digital sense, actually, of people just trusting what they're told, and that's why we have to be here with radio stations like this to challenge those conceptions. Most citizens feel pretty hopeless, I think, and unable to fight back against these kind of huge mainstream corporations that simply entrench and support the ideals and ideologies of the state. It can seem very hopeless indeed, but I think, the fact that you're out there listening, we're in here talking, shows that there is still a space to combat these false truths and disinformation that's being sold to us, and that it's never possible really to completely shut down, despite all the technologies that they have at their disposal and all the financial and corporate power and all the physical power. It's never quite possible to shut down people's desire to get to the truth and fight for their own ideologies and values, and we're out here starting that task, so don't give up hope.
You've been listening to Buccaneer with Mita. This is London Calling. I'm Tash, and you're listening to Buccaneer, your source